A few months ago, I attempted some renovations in my basement. So we started by putting that wall down. By removing that wall, what it did, it opened up the whole basement. And the whole goal here was that we could enjoy that space. In the process, I quickly realized that the pot light that was in the bottom of the stairs was actually hooked up with the stairs themselves. But that space now being part of a bigger room, we needed that bigger room to have all the lights connected together. And we also needed the bottom of those stairs lit up when we wanted to go downstairs so that we did not trip and fall over some stuff. That was on the other side of that wall and put it in the same box because when you get downstairs and you want to turn the lights on, it's easier to just open the light right away rather than going on the other side of that same wall where it was located in a box right here. Now this is a Shelly 2.5. This Shelly relay gets triggered by having one of those two on. So as you can see, if I turn off, it turns off that light. But if I turn that one on, that light comes on again. And vice versa. It's gonna be on if I turn that one on too. So that way, that light lights up at the same time as my other pod lights, but it also lights up if I come downstairs. And that way, you don't walk in the basement completely in the dark. So if you want to set up that automation for yourself, let me show you exactly how to do it. So first of all, you're gonna jump into Home Assistant and you're gonna find that setting option from the left menu. Automation and scenes, and you're gonna want to create a new automation. So we're gonna create a new automation. You want to click on Add Trigger, and from there it's gonna ask you what type of trigger you want to add. So click on Device and choose your first device. So basically that's one of the two switches that will be controlling that shared light that is controlled by the relay. You want to choose the trigger. So in my case it says if it turns on or off, but you would also have the option if it turns on, if it turns off, or if the value changes. So in this case I'm gonna choose to have it trigger whenever the light comes on or off, because the only thing that I'm interested in at that point is getting that automation fired as soon as that light is triggered by a human pressing on a button. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the other entity that I'm gonna use to trigger that automation. And in this case the trigger is gonna be button 1, button short press, because I'm using multi-press on that device. But there's a lot of choices. It could be double press, triple press, whatever. But in this case I'm only interested when someone turns that light on or off, and that's with the single press. We need to go set some actions. So if we click on that Add Action button, there's a menu that pops up, and we need to choose If Then as an action, because we want to set some condition to choose what we're gonna do when that automation is gonna be triggered. So the first condition that I'm gonna put is or, because in this case we want either one of the two lights to be on to trigger the other one. So we're gonna choose or, and then we need to add the conditions. So we click that Add Condition button and we choose Device, and from that device we're gonna choose that same device that we had up there, and the condition is going to be that it's going to be on, because I want that light to be turned on by either of those lights to be on. We're going to click on that add condition button again, and we're going to choose device, and we're going to add the second device. And I'm going to choose that I want this to be on as a condition. By having that OR condition first, if one of those two lights are on, it's going to trigger an action. And now I need to set that action up. So we're going to click on that add action button, and we're going to choose what the action is going to be. So we need to choose device from that menu, and we need to scroll to that shorthly relay, and we're going to choose that shorthly relay, and the action is going to be to turn it on. So we choose in the action turn on shorthly 2.5. So underneath that you have an add else button. Well, actually it's a link. If you click on it, it's going to add you an add action button, and you're going to choose device again, and that device is going to be that same shorthly 2.5 device. But now instead of choosing on for the action, we're going to choose off. So what this is going to do is basically when someone presses the button, it's going to trigger that automation. It's going to check if one of those two lights is on. It's going to turn your relay on. But if all those two devices are off, it's going to go to that then action, which is to turn off that light. And we could add more ifs in there. We could say, like, if it's already turned off, don't do anything. But at that point, I don't really care about that. But I could nest some extra logic in those conditions, in those actions. I could say, hey, if then it's already off, don't do nothing. And that's how you set it up. So I'm going to share with you my schematic. I'm going to put that in the description underneath. So for a while I was planning on building a smart cover for my window. If you want to know more on that automation and see some information about the build that I made, please consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm going to be sharing that in a future video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if not, just leave me a comment, let me know. And if you did enjoy, let me know what you enjoyed the most. And until next time, goodbye.